light each day, so satisfied I'm on my way.
Welcome to the first ever Rock Hall podcast. It is Rock Hall Off the Record with your host, Max Espinosa, alongside Leah Brandstetter.
Hey.
Carl Hart.
How you doing?
And Casey Malone.
What's up? What's up?
So what this podcast is, its first ever incarnation. This podcast is basically going to be going over topics of Rock Hall inductees, Rock Hall related material, but also we're going to commentate pretty much about pop culture and the pop culture landscape within music, what's going on around the world of music, but also, you know, doing a little commentary from not so stiff, kind of like unauthoritative voices. And I'm really excited about that, guys. So what do you guys hope for this podcast to be to our audience that's listening the first time?
I hope people get to see a little bit of the cool and wacky stuff we actually do in the museum here in Cleveland, like when inductions aren't going on and we're not the center of the universe, but what we do, what we're into in general.
Talking about our fabulous education programs, our great public programming, our awesome marketing team that does a really good job, and then my curatorial team that does an awesome job of putting stuff up on exhibit, on display, timely and matter-of-factly. Carl, what do you hope this podcast becomes?
I'm just, the show that real people work here, that we do have personality, we do have opinions, we do have feelings as well.
It's good to have feelings.
Yeah, and that we enjoy what we do, genuinely.
And what about you, KC?
Yeah, echoing off what everybody said, man. Just giving the Rock Hall a voice. All the people that comment and stuff. We're real people answering your stuff. It's not some bot. So we're out here.
That freaking bot, right? How many bought induction tickets?
Yeah, no, I kind of want to make a bot.
I think that's a question for us: is how many bots bought induction tickets? But yeah, so let's go on with our first topic, talking about inductions. The 2017 class, the tickets went on sale last week. We are sold out at the Barclays Center on April 7th in New York City, and Brooklyn, more specifically. What about the recent presenter news? What do you guys think about the, Uncle Neil inducting Pearl Jam?
Uncle Neil.
Yeah, well, that's what they call him. They call him Uncle Neil. He's kind of like he's the godfather of grunge. So what do you guys think about that?
I love it. I mean, everybody almost expected it. And the fact that Eddie Vedder inducted Neil Young, so it's kind of fitting for the return.
Coming full circle.
Yeah, and I mean their history goes back to near pretty much to the birth of Pearl Jam. They've played together in numerous occasions, going back to the Bridge School benefit, the Mirror Ball album, the tour that was even surrounding it. So they have a long relationship.
And that's my favorite band in the whole wide world. That's still together. Favorite band of all time is Pink Floyd. For all you people going, oh, Pearl Jam's not rock and roll. But Pearl Jam is awesome, and Pink Floyd's awesome. But Pearl Jam can still tour and still play live and really have a kick-ass show. So I'm excited for that. But then we've got our other inductees. We have ELO. We have Joan Baez. We have Tupac Shakur, which is another.
It'll be interesting to see who inducts.
Yeah,
Tupac.
We still don't know. Who do you guys? Who's the Tupac's fans in this group of four here? I know I am.
Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I like him. He's cool.
Leah, no opinion on Tupac, whether one or the other?
No strong opinion. No, I don't. It's just not my jam.
All right, not Leah's jam. Who do we want to see induct Tupac?
I want to see him induct himself, man.
You want to see a hologram?
No, he's gonna come back. It's gonna be the premiere.
Like,
the premiere, Machiavelli coming in.
He's coming back. He's gonna induct himself. No, all serious note. It should be Kendrick. I mean, people probably gonna be like, "Oh, he did it for NWA," but I feel like he's the right successor. I mean, he had Tupac at the end of his album, and if you look at like the trajectory or the influences, like he's the modern day Pac. But they're probably gonna get someone like Snoop or somebody like that.
I mean, yeah, you could either go with somebody modern, like Kendrick, who directly, cites Tupac as an influence, and even the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, which is one of the opening lines from Keep Your Head Up. So, you could have him, or you could go with the contemporary. Tupac did collaborate with a lot of people, recorded with a lot of people, so, there's definite room for that.
Someone like Chuck D that really advocated for him to get in the first place.
Right, and the voting body is former inductees. So obviously Chuck D definitely, when he filled out his nominating ballot, marked Tupac probably in there. We don't know. He could have done Janet and had no, who knows. But that'd be awesome. We have ELO, we have Tupac, we just said Journey, and I know the big deal with Journey and still up in the air is Steve Perry going to reunite and perform with those guys on stage.
I hope so.
I think that's what we're all hoping for.
Is that what we really care about? Is like Steve Perry performing with Journey? Is that the big news shaker of the night?
I think it definitely, besides Pearl Jam, I think it is probably one of the main, ticket drivers, is Journey's induction. Obviously their impact and influence, since their inception is great, and they're still going strong. They still sell out, arenas and major outdoor venues. But it's something that is the big question mark is what is Steve Perry, his status.
Yeah, what is it, for this show? And then what songs are they going to be doing? That's a big deal for all these because they get 3 songs a piece, and they're usually their popular songs. But what songs do we want to see? I mean, are we big Journey fans in this room, or?
I mean, I definitely respect their catalog.
Steve Perry's voice is kind of a guilty pleasure.
All right, cool. Casey, you have no thoughts on Journey, man?
I mean, I like the song everybody else likes, the Don't Stop Believing. I mean,
You're a Sopranos fan, man, right?
I never even watched that show.
Oh, what?
Nah,
oh, man,
I didn't watch that.
Totally ended one of the most perfect
I'm
shows
too
on
young, man. You
television.
got to understand, man. Like, it wasn't in my era, man.
So I personally would like to see Steve Perry get up there and belt as best as he can.
Yes.
And it's actually impressive that Journey, I'm not the biggest Journey fan, but I will say as a stat boy, as a baseball fan, the fact that they were 24th this year in total tickets grossed for their tour, that's more than Dave Matthews. That's more than Jennifer Lopez. That's more than Maroon 5. So they're beating up some of the young whippersnappers out there, which is kind of cool. Any surprises or any kind of things you're looking forward to, maybe other than a Tupac hologram? Can't use that.
I mean, I would really like to hear, Joan Baez, make a statement. Obviously, she is like a folk icon, so I'd like to see, something more from the more traditional folk canon. Something like "We Shall Overcome," performed. I think that would make a good statement. I'm all for that. You're obviously, you got Neil Young up there too, so he's bound to make some kind of statement as well.
Isn't Jackson Browne inducting her too? So
Yeah,
there's another one.
and then the end jam. You have some serious guitar gods, up there in between Neil Young and Mike McCready, Alex Lifeson, and Steve Howe. So
Don't forget Neil Schon, man. He's a pretty good guitarist player.
yeah, he's a pretty good guy too.
The question is what song do you pick to jam on with that crew?
Keep on rocking in the free world.
Yeah.
Either you
That's
do
true.
that one or you do "We Shall Overcome" and punk it out.
Yeah.
How
That'd
cool
be
would
weird.
that be?
I don't know. That's
We shall overcome.
no.
Save that for when Slayer gets in.
Let's
Yeah, we
let
should.
Pete Seeger rest in peace.
Imagine Slayer gets in with I don't know, Boss Skaggs, and they do Rain in Blood together. Sorry, my head just went off into a fantasy of what could be.
That's probably a cue
wormhole.
to go to our next topic.
So as we talk about inductions, we are wrapping up with we're about a month and some change into 2017, but we had a Rock Hall piece that went out on our social media channels on our top albums of the year as chosen by Rock Hall staff. Number 1 was Lemonade by Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was a tie, correct?
Yeah, between David Bowie's Black Star and Solange's A Seat at the Table.
And then number 3 was another tie.
Again, yes, it was. Radiohead's A Moon-Shaped Pool and Sturgill Simpson's A Sailor's Guide to Earth, and Childish Gambino's Awaken My
Oh, it was a
Love.
3-way tie.
Yeah.
So, I know we all voted, we all partook in this. What are your thoughts on what the staff kind of came out with at the end of the day?
I mean,
I know,
definitely-
yeah, you have a beef here, Carl, because they were definitely not in any of your
No,
wheelhouse.
none
what
of
you picked
them.
for your
None
top
of them.
3.
But I definitely, again, I can respect the top 3. I honestly, I love the Childish Gambino record. There's definitely some great elements of the psychedelic funk flavor of George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. It even samples, some P-Funk in there. And, you know, you get a little bit of influence. You see the influence of Sly and the Family Stone. So definitely can dig it. But when it comes to like the rest of the list after the top 3, yeah, there's some definite surprises. But we chose this as our personal favorites. It wasn't based on, you know, how is it advancing music or what is the message. But, you know, I definitely, you know, respect Lemonade, respect Radiohead and everything that they do. So just a little surprised that nobody shares in my great taste.
I share your great taste, Carl.
Well, yeah, I mean, you picked Margot Price, and you did Angel Olsen, and you had Blink-182.
Yeah. So it was diverse,
yeah.
you know.
One day they'll be inducted.
Agreed.
Leah, what'd you think?
I just thought it was cool just to see what everybody, you know, we get busy around here and we don't always get a chance to talk about just like what's on your phone. What are you listening to on your way into work in the morning? And just reading this whole huge list of really diverse albums. I mean, obviously we all love rock and roll because we work at the Rock
here.
and Roll Hall of Fame. But people listen to almost every conceivable genre of pop music.
Yeah, you had everything from, you know, some metal stuff on there.
Yeah,
all
there's
the
Kill
way up-
Switch Engage that
Yeah.
somebody picked. There's like Deep Valley, Car Seat Headrest. Blink-182 is because of you. I think you might have been the only one.
Oh,
I'm
man.
kidding. No, he wasn't. I'm joking. I love Blink-182.
I know, but then you also had some recent releases from some inductees, like Cheap Trick is on there as well. And I think you have Gary Tallent's album as well.
Red
so,
Hot Chili Peppers, Getaway, that was on there. Weekend Starboy. It was all over the place. Casey, your thoughts? I know you're the Travis Scott birds singing the Trap McKnight.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of funny because Beyonce got first place, or not first place. Well, she was the first place, but it's kind of funny because like I couldn't imagine. Obviously, she won first place for a reason, but it's just funny to like see some of the people working here. Like I couldn't imagine them like riding around in their car listening to Formation, but that's cool. But like I just couldn't like see that happening. I think that's good though, and that's a testament to Beyonce's timelessness. But I like the list, and a lot of the stuff that was on the list, like some of Carl's choices, I actually ended up listening to that stuff and actually kind of liked it. I didn't even know I liked Blink-182 until I listened to the new album, and then on Spotify, some of their old songs I remember from when I was a kid. So that's cool. So I really appreciated everybody's list. But in terms of my list, you know, coming from the hip-hop wheelhouse, I think Travis Scott had a really good album. He'll be one of the premier hip-hop live acts, as well as once he figures his studio sound out, times to come. But I really liked that album, and I liked a lot of the features that Andre 3000 was on last year. I know that's not an album, but a lot of the features he was on, like the Divine Council album, I think I put on there as a big thing. And hopefully, whether it's Outkast or Andre 3000 solo, they drop something in 2017 this year.
He was on my #1 album of the year, which was A Tribe Called Quest's new record, which I was actually surprised didn't get anywhere. Because considering how much did it, Ellie's our producer. She's kind of off mic, but she's kind of like, yeah, it kind of had some traction. So I'm surprised because it was such a important record, and they're probably one of the, you know, they're like the godfathers of hip hop. They're that New York based sound. And
Yeah.
they're a group. They're like a band, you know, and they had Jack White on that record and Busta Rhymes. I don't know. Beyonce had Jack White is what Ellie told me, and I'm like, yeah, and so did Alicia Keys. So does Jack White just go around? He's like, I got my guitar ready to plug in, and what do you guys want?
And let's not forget who, like, Margot Price, like what record label she's on either. So
Right. So Jack White
Jack
just
White
touched
wins
everything this
2016.
year is where
He
we're
was on
going
a little
with
bit
this.
of everybody.
Yeah, but he's open to both. You know, he's a Detroiter, open to hip hop. He loves Latin music and he loves country. Obviously, lives in Nashville. So, so any other surprises from that list that you were surprised didn't get through? Like, you had a good top 3 list, Leah. About
Yeah, I think the only one, because I was one of the lazy Rock Hall employees that did not get my list in by the deadline.
Ellie's nodding her head like, yeah, no.
I guess I got a little busy, but the album that Nico Case did with Katie Lang and Laura Veers, I thought was awesome, and I would have, if I had turned my list in on time, that would have been on there too.
So that rounds up our top. 2016 albums, and we look forward to good music in 2017, right? Some
Yeah,
good
that
albums coming
Andre
out.
album, man, is coming out.
Kendrick Lamar, possibly.
Nah, man, the Andre album, man.
All right,
maybe
man.
maybe Dead and Company. or John Mayer.
John Mayer is definitely coming out, and then I also have word and wind that the new Drake album will drop in March.
Oh, the summer. It's the Drake summer takeover.
Yeah.
Summer
so
size.
we'll be taken over by that dude again. Moving on to our next topic. We're going to jump into this pop culture realm. Lady Gaga, Super Bowl performance. Super Bowl 51, which was actually a really good game. It wasn't time to be like, oh, the best part of the game was the halftime performance. But it was good. I mean, I thought it was good. What'd you guys think?
I thought it was cool, man. I mean, I thought it was a commercial coming out of the commercial because she was just on top of the building or the stadium. But in terms of the performance, it's what I expected from, like, I don't want to say what I expected, but Lady Gaga gave the performance showing what she is and what she does. And I know there was a lot of people online or whatever saying there wasn't a political statement, but I just feel like the fact that you have Lady Gaga herself, she represents that, and she performed the song was it Born This Way?
Yep.
So I mean, that's a political statement in and of itself. But I thought it was a cool performance, man. I like Lady Gaga, man. She could sing, she could dance.
She's a great
she jumped
jazz
off
pianist.
the thing, yeah, man.
Yeah.
She gives the total package, man. And she's coming here in April. Apparently now she's gonna tour. So I think anybody in any city, if you have the chance to see her, I think you should check her out.
She was really good live, and you kind of hinted at that, Chris. The political statement, I guess. You know, what about politics at sporting events or performing, you know, in front of people and saying some of that
This
stuff?
is just a question of, because you've been an activist in the past, does that mean you use the platform of the Super Bowl to be an activist or not? I think people kind of had an expectation based on
She was
some
very
of her previous performances.
she was very inclusive for
Oh
sure.
yeah, I thought that was the main message.
That was her message.
Inclusivity.
Yeah, I mean, it's been that message, you know, throughout her career, you
Yeah.
know, and it was something that she said in an interview too. She's not going to do anything that she hasn't done before. But you know, she opened it up with God Bless America, into This Land Is Your Land. So you know, that's a song that is definitely a protest song in and of itself.
Yep.
Which is all about, you know, like it's a song against inequality and a song for inclusion, and something that's meant to break down, you know, inequality barriers. So, you know, in and of itself, you know, that was definitely like a little kind of slight protest. And let's not forget that the vice president was in attendance too.
And it was like
Yes.
sponsored by Pepsi.
Sponsored by Pepsi. Yep.
But also, I think a lot of the stuff she did, you could read it from multiple ways. So you probably left that performance pretty much with whatever reaction you already had to Lady Gaga.
Right. But I mean, let's not even forget, like, this is not the first time that a political statement has happened in a Super Bowl halftime show. In 1993, Michael Jackson performed.
Yep.
And you had Black or White, We Are the World, and Heal the World all performed. So, you know, this is not the first time that somebody has used it to show that we should all be like there is a global human and that we need to work together. You know, preach some unity. So,
But then contrast that with the Beyonce controversy from
last year, yeah, with the
where she had just come out with the formation video,
yeah.
and she's putting these Black Power symbols into pop culture,
I mean,
and people
also-
reacted very strongly.
well, Black Lives Matter was like a huge topic of 2016 too, and 2015. So, you know, she definitely used the platform. You know, but then you had Coldplay performing.
Yeah, Chris
with her.
Martin
Yeah, it
dancing
was-
around like a buffoon, who's the most adorable buffoon. I love Chris Martin. But he dances funny. He
Wasn't-
dances like I do.
But
which
it was
is
also
funny.
like a tribute to previous Super Bowl halftime shows, right? There was I can't remember exactly. But
But so back to the performance. We talked about all the political stuff, but then where does this rank in Super Bowl performances all time? Like, I mean, what do you? Is it just like something that
I mean,
is in top
like,
10?
visually, it was stunning.
Oh,
Visually
yeah,
it was
it's
amazing,
great.
but that's because of technology and over time. But
Yeah.
I'm talking like, you know, we've had bands, we've had former inductees, we have Tom Petty, we've had the Rolling Stones, we've had U2, we've had Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know,
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney, which is my favorite
Yeah.
all time.
I mean, I would say nothing. Like, I'm not the hugest U2 fan by any
Prince
means,
as well. Prince's Super Bowl performance is pretty badass.
but nothing I think, but can top the 2002 U2 performance. You know, that was dedicated to the victims of September 11th. You know, it was.
I don't
a
think
very,
anything can top that tour.
Yeah,
I cried.
I mean, it was incredibly emotional,
Yeah.
and I don't think anything will ever top that in regards to context. But the overall performance of Lady Gaga and the entertainment value definitely near the top.
What about you, Do you remember? You're so young.
I mean, it was a good performance. Beyonce last year was good. I do remember the Prince one. I think I vaguely remember the Paul McCartney. He ended with the na 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 na, right? That song.
Hey Jude, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like I remember that one, and that was a good one. I do remember that one. So the fact that I remember that had a lasting impact. So I'll say that was one of the top. But in terms of what I saw 2 days ago, Lady Gaga definitely put on a hell of a show. So another good performance. But like I say, coming from Lady Gaga, you expect nothing but the best.
So my last thing then, what should Super Bowl performances be though? I mean, like, are they still like, are we still getting it right with like the medley of songs, or should we do something more intense or more artists? Maybe not just one.
Well, I think Lady Gaga definitely, she did it on her own. She had the backup dancers and everything, which aided in the entertainment value. But let's not forget that the world is literally watching, and it reflects on our nation and our ideals.
So our last topic then, we are entering the summer of love. The anniversary, the 50th.
I was gonna say what?
No. It's winter right now here in Cleveland. It hurts, and it's February, and it's
winter,
cold.
and it's 50 years ago.
Yeah. But it's 50 years ago. But in honor of that, part of our Revolution series. If you haven't seen that, you can go to our Facebook page and check out some of those videos, as well as our YouTube. They're basically snippets into classic rock albums, or classic albums just in general. And then this month, in honor of Black History Month, we are doing Jimi Hendrix, who's the reason why I even got into music in the first place. Jimi Hendrix Revolutions on Are You Experienced, his debut album, which is 50 years old come May of this year. Do you guys have any thoughts on probably the greatest, most innovative guitarist of all time?
None.
None? You have no thoughts on him at all. But Casey, you got a story about Jimi Hendrix. Your dad met Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah, he met Hendrix, man, in New York City when my dad was like a kid. He's like 15 or something. He said he came from the show, and him and his boys were across the street, and he saw Hendrix's car. I forgot the name of the car. I don't want to say the wrong car, but my dad recognized the car from somewhere. He just knew that was Hendrix's car, and they walked over there, and it was just Jimi Hendrix by himself in the car. And my dad and his friends were like totally shocked and excited. And my dad like said it was Hendrix exactly like you would expect him. He had on like the scarf and like the shirt open, and he was just cool and was talking, hey, how y'all doing, whatever, and got the autograph and everything. But the sad thing, what happened was my dad, when he came home, he got the autograph on like a napkin, and he put the napkin like somewhere in his room, and his room must have been messy or something. And like my grandmother went in there and like was moving stuff around, and my dad woke up. And back in those days, obviously there was no phones and nothing, so he was gonna go to school and be like, I met Jimi Hendrix, and the only way you could show it was proof. And he woke up and the napkin was gone. He runs downstairs and he's like, yo, where's the napkin? What happened? And my grandma was like, your room was dirty. I had to throw it away. He was like, yo, the napkin had Jimi Hendrix on it. She was like, who's Jimi Hendrix? What is Jimi Hendrix?
Who's that
So
guy?
like, to this day, it's just a funny joke. Like my dad's friends will be like, "You never met Jimi Hendrix. You never met Jimi Hendrix."
And your dad, I seen your dad he told me that
Yeah,
story.
I mean,
and
it's the
he
true
hung his
story.
head and sat.
Yeah, we don't have the autograph, but my dad met Hendrix and said he was everything that you see in the videos, and said the performance was one of the best performances he's ever seen.
And I think that's why we still love him today, because you go and you see him, you can YouTube him, you can see all these awesome documentaries that have come out the last 4 or 5 years. He's visually captivating. He's the reason. I mean, I remember staying in front. My mom had a Woodstock VHS tape, and I'm 7 years old, and I'm looking at this guy, and I just literally was like, I want to do that. I even held the guitar the wrong way when I got my first acoustic guitar, because I thought that's how you played, was because of him.
Because he's left-handed. And
'Cause he's left-handed.
Strung it the opposite
And
way.
strung it the opposite way, which is pretty awesome. But he's visually compelling. But is there anybody today that reminds you of Jimi Hendrix in any kind of way?
I mean, I don't
That's
think there's
tough.
anybody
You
who's
never-
ever who hasn't picked up a guitar and not had that immediate,
Yeah, it's like-
impact.
Everyone's
Or,
influenced by
yeah.
him, but nobody's quite.
Yeah,
No,
there's
he's
nobody
never-
like him, man.
I think the closest has always been Prince, but even Prince has said there's no to emulate. I might get the quote wrong, but to emulate Jimi Hendrix would be a shame to try, and he wouldn't even touch it. Someone asked him like if he got his influence from that, and he kind of was like, it'd be a shame to even try to replicate what he did. But I think to me the closest was Prince.
Yeah.
But in a totally like different way, though. I feel like
Yeah.
Prince was like out there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he could play almost there. I think.
Are you talking about like music style?
I'm talking guitar style.
Oh, yeah, Prince.
No, guitar style.
Oh
guitar
yeah,
style.
Prince like Tom
Music
Petty,
style,
like
yeah.
Eric Clapton or something like that.
Clapton shook in his boots when he saw Hendrix play.
Hendrix the best, man.
Yeah.
Didn't he like invented like a certain way of playing guitar, right?
Not
Or like a style.
more of a psychedelic style. He broke down the wall of psychedelic guitar soloing. You mean you had Clapton and Jimmy Page and the Yardbirds were still around, but then they go and see this guy play, and it was like nothing. It was like the showmanship. It's the beginning of shredding. It's the beginning of Eddie
the
Van
shredding.
Halen
That's what I was looking for.
and Kirk Hammett's and all those guys in the world to show off their skills in a different kind of a way, instead of just creeping in the corner and just kind of going off. So,
Well, I think we also need to give credit where it's due, and the Jimi Hendrix experience was not just Jimi Hendrix. You had Noel Redding on bass and Mitch Mitchell on drums. They were a power trio, very much in the same vein as Cream. But, like some of those songs, like they were writing and recording in the studio together, on the spot, doing a few takes. And some of those songs made the album just like that. So, it wasn't just one guy. It was a group, and, got to give the credit to the rest of the guys.
yeah.
Right on.
No, I think, and some have said that they were the best studio drummer and bass. Well, Noel Redding was a guitarist and then went to bass, and they were the best studio musicians at the time, according to some. So he had the best of the best with the best. He's obviously great. But yeah, so look for the Revolution series. That's coming out later this month in February. Revolutions, Are You Experienced? And there'll be more this year to tie in to 50th anniversaries, big anniversaries, or big kind of timely events that are going on here at the Rock Hall.
You can see some of the past ones up on our page. We have Nirvana's Nevermind. We have Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. And, it's all, thanks to our good friends over at Clips Audio.
So thanks Clips for that. But yeah, to wrap up kind of our first episode of 2017 is going to be a pretty big year, like most years are. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff going on within the museum and programming, and this will kind of be your ear to the ground of what's really going on at the Rock Hall, and not just the front-facing stuff of it, but actually kind of our opinions. We'd love to hear from you. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, tweet at us, comment at us. All comments are welcome, to be quite honest.
Send us postcards.
Yeah. If you got our address here, just write our name in it. So I'm Max Espinosa.
Leah Brandstetter.
Carl Harp.
I'm KC.
And in the back of the room is Ellie. And we wave goodbye at our first podcast. Good job, guys. And we'll love to talk to you guys next week.